Hi, this is Francisco talking to you from Aveiro, Portugal. I'm talking to you to give you an information that I didn't want to give, but sadly it happened. The Ukrainians lost their first F-16 fighter jet. It's still unsure the details about this loss. We know that the pilot was also killed, and the pilot is probably a worse loss than the jet itself. So initially, it was said that the jet was probably lost as the pilot during a missile strike at the Ukrainian airbase, but apparently that is not the case. So what happened? Everything seems to indicate that the jet was lost during an interception of Russian drones in the 26th of August during the mass drone attack during that night. This is concerning because first it is the loss of one of the rare F-16s that Ukrainians still have. They are supposed to receive almost 100 of them, but only a dozen or so are in country. Second, the pilot is a very, very heavy loss. What happened is that the Ukrainians are having a serious problem training pilots because they are not proficient in English. So this means that there is only a small pool of pilots to draw from when they are trying to train them in an international context. This has been a problem with other Ukrainian servicemen, even in the infantry and armor roles. Furthermore, this is a kind of awakening call to the fact that the F-16 won't be the wonder weapon that the friends of Ukraine like myself kind of hoped it will be. I'm drawn to the case of the IMR system, the M142, when it was brought into combat in the late 2022. It kind of changed the way the war has been fought, because it allowed Ukrainians to strike Russian targets in well beyond the reach of Russian artillery and even beyond the reach of Western artillery, which is way better than Russian. It kind of forced the Russians to redeploy their logistics and their training centers and everything. The IMR is still not being used to its best potential, because there are missiles that are still not being allowed to use in Ukraine. The F-16s, for those of you who may not know, is a light fighter jet developed in the US in the 70s, which is a small jet with a single engine, but really fast, really agile, capable of using a wide array of weapons. It's the favorite jet in the world and probably one of the best ever developed. Most of these weapon systems are unavailable to the Ukrainians, sadly. Another point is that because of the low numbers of pilots and fighters, in the limited scope of available weapons, what we have a situation in which this jet cannot be the wonder weapon everyone was kind of hoping it will be. The Russian Air Force is way larger than the Ukrainian Air Force. Their jets are similar to the ones the Ukrainians have been using thus far, but the Russian jets are more advanced in general terms and more numerous, as I said. They also have air-to-air missiles capable of striking well beyond the 100-kilometer mark, so they can strike Ukrainian jets before they can perform their missions. Without equivalent abilities, the Ukrainians simply cannot use F-16 to turn the tide like they use the IMRs. And the loss of this jet kind of wakens us up to this, which leads us to a final point, which I'm making myself, which is, how did they lose this jet? It seems that it was lost during the attempt to intercept the Russian drones. Two options: either it was being attacked by a Russian fighter with one of those long-range missiles, and as he maneuvered, it just slammed into the ground. It happened to a few Ukrainian jets this far, and it will probably continue to happen. It's the reality of this war. Second option: the Ukrainians are intercepting the drones at a very short range, either due to the small thermic thermic signature of the missiles of the drones, or because of a doctrinal issue that doesn't give them the training to intercept the enemies from beyond the immediate combat range. In any case, Tom Cooper released a video where we see the Ukrainian jet launching a missile at a drone from around 500 meters. If the Ukrainian F-16 was stricken by debris, and the F-16 is relatively fragile, it will just be damaged and crash. These drones fly at a very low altitude, so if the pilot wouldn't have time to react to the situation, it will just fall with his jet. Another option is that he simply made a mistake during a training mission and crashed anyways. So this is my 2 cents about this. It is a sad loss. I do hope we don't see much of this in the near future, but sadly these things happen. Many pilots died in World War II due to accidents, and war is war. War is hell. Let's see what happens next. See ya.